Welcome to Fearless Birth. I'm Rohini. I'm a first-time mama who overcame my fears around birth and had an empowering and positive experience. And I'm here to help you release your fear, feel prepared, and own your birth story. I'm going to break my story into 4 parts. First will be what happened in early labor. So early labor is usually from the very first crampy-like sensation till you reach active labor, which is when you're maybe around 3-4 centimeters dilated. Your active phase of labor, which is from 3 centimeter dilation till 10 centimeter dilation. So that's the second part, active phase of labor. Then I'll have the third part, which is actually pushing my baby out. And then the fourth, which is the birth of the placenta. The purpose of making this video is I want you to hear a positive experience. I was on a hunt when I was pregnant to actually look and seek out those positive stories because that's how I wanted my story to end up. So to give you some context, I had a planned home birth in Melbourne in Australia. My total labor lasted around 23 hours. I gave birth when I was 37 weeks and 6 days, so just a day short from 38 weeks gestation. We had 2 midwives and a doula, and I had my partner with me. So this was my birthing team. When I say 23 hours of labor, it sounds long, but actually it's from the very first crampy like sensation I had till when my baby was actually born. So that's the whole time it took. If you don't know what a doula is, it's just, I might make a whole other video about what a doula is, but basically a doula is your emotional and birth support person. My labor started around Sunday morning, which was around 5 a.m. in the morning, and it started out with, at the time of course I didn't know that my labor was actually starting because with early labor it's often that it can go on for days, it can go on for weeks. You don't really know that you're in labor and labor is actually progressing. So when at 5 a.m. in the morning, I had like this crampy like sensation, and so far in my entire pregnancy I had no such cramps whatsoever. I had no Braxton Hicks, I had no such sensations whatsoever, no spotting, no bleeding, nothing. So I knew something was happening. When I went to the toilet, I realized that, oh, I can see a bit of spotting. So it was like blood, little bit of blood with a bit of gel-like substance. So it's like I knew it was a mucus plug. So that's what first kind of happens. You release your mucus plug. So your mucus plug is basically the jelly-like plug that's blocking your cervix, so that it's protecting the baby from germs and bacteria and a lot of things. So that plug kind of sets into place when you get pregnant at the end of your cervix. So that's the plug that came out. So I knew my mucus plug had come out. But again, like I said, mucus plug can come out even a week before you go into labor. So it's not really for sure that, oh my God, you're going into labor. So usually if you want to take away anything from early labor, just take away this, that the whole purpose of early labor is just to chill. Just chill, take a rest. Because if you don't take that rest, this is the only time you're going to get to take rest, which is early labor. After that, you need to be prepared for this marathon, because it can really be disappointing if you are in early labor, you're getting all excited and you don't see any signs after a day or two or after some hours. So it's better to just preserve your energy and your excitement for a bit later so that you're not disappointed. Because if you do get disappointed, it impacts your mental state in some ways, and you might maybe, get in the way of your labor. So early labor rest. So this was my mindset throughout early labor. So at this stage, when I was cramping, getting mucus plug, I was acknowledging it. Yep, this is happening, but I still didn't know that I was in labor. So yep, I went to the toilet. Then I woke up my partner. I told him, hey, I am seeing some mucus plug, and then we immediately called my doula and we called my midwives. So we had 2 midwives, a primary midwife and a secondary midwife, which is how it usually works. If you plan for a home birth, you'll have 2 midwives appointed to you. One is your primary midwife, who you kind of have your appointments with. But then you'll also meet your secondary midwife, just so that you know the person. But yeah, your main care person is going to be your primary midwife. And the way it worked in our practice, in our private practice, was they took turns. So if my primary midwife was off call, the secondary midwife was going to be taking your calls and answering questions. So at that time, at 5 a.m. on Sunday, our midwife was actually off call, and she was off call till that night, 8 o'clock or something. So it was our secondary midwife who was on call, and we called her and we told her, hey, it's happening. So she said the same thing. She said, just chill, watch what happens, keep me posted if something progresses. I had a good night of sleep, so I wasn't really feeling like to go back to bed. So because like I said, I got a whole night's sleep, I was rested, and I was kind of okay to get up. I was still in the mindset that I will rest once I maybe shower or something, because I was like, if at all something was going to happen, I want to be able to shower and I want to be a bit fresh. I basically hopped into the shower, and by this time in the shower, I started feeling these kind of contractions, what you call it. They were still mild. I would say they were now getting into menstrual crampy like sensations, where how I get period cramps. That's how it was coming. So, but then they were quite short. They were very short, but then they would come every 10-15 minutes. So they were very spaced out as well. So I remember having one in the shower, one or two in the shower, I can't remember. But yeah, I remember just breathing through it. It was not like, oh my God, it was manageable. So I would say till around 10 a.m., my contractions were about 10 to 15 minutes apart. And they were not very intense and they were very manageable. I was just breathing through them. I also remember watching Friends. So that was one of my things in my birth plan. I had written that in early labor, I'm going to be watching Friends and I'm going to have fun and I'm going to try to distract my brain and do something restful. So I was having breakfast and I was watching Friends. Then around 11 a.m., I noticed that my surges were now maybe 6 to 7 minutes apart. They were getting there. They were increasing in frequency. I knew that. So, but again, at this point, we still weren't really sure that labor is progressing. We were still in the mindset that, yeah, let's see how it goes. We'll see. We'll take it as it comes. It might just stop all of a sudden as well. Because like I said, I watched tons of birth stories in which there have been mamas who have had, really strong surges, maybe 4 minutes apart, but then they kind of completely died down. So yeah, our mindset was still to chill. So yeah, it was around 11 a.m. when we then called our doula again and told her, hey, our contractions are maybe 6-7 minutes apart, because our doula was a bit far. She stays a bit far from us. It was maybe an hour and a half journey for her. So she told us that whenever it's 6-7 minutes apart, tell me and I will come. I'll make my way to you. So at this point, she told us, yep, okay, I'm driving to you. Let's see what happens. Even if it doesn't progress, it'll be fine, but I just want to be there when it progresses. She reached our home around 1 o'clock, I would say. And at that time, my surges were still about 5 to 6 minutes apart, I would say. I remember I started going on my birth ball and I was on all fours. If you don't know what the birthing ball is, it's like this exercise ball that you can bounce on. And I did a lot of exercises on that. And that was really a restful space for me. So yeah, I was just relaxing on the ball. Like imagine a big ball and you're on your all fours and you were just resting your hands and your face on it. So it was really helpful. We also called our secondary midwife again and we told her, hey, it's 6 to 7 minutes apart, and she told us to call her when it is 3 to 4 minutes apart. After my doula came, which was around 1 p.m., we were basically on the floor. We had put a mattress on the floor and I was literally on all fours on the floor most of the time, and I was just breathing through my surges. Again, they were quite manageable. I was able to talk through them. So that's basically the gauge that they always say, that if you're not able to talk through your surges is when you've hit active labor. Like you're very much inward and you're not outward. But at this point, I was still quite outward. We were cracking jokes and making fun and, doing a lot of things. And around 4 p.m. is when I think I went very much inward. My contractions became 3 to 4 minutes apart at this stage. And yeah, I was very much inward. I was not at all focusing on the jokes anymore, on the talk that was happening. I was very much having my contraction, breathing through my surge, and then that's it. I was just resting. I was not in the mood to chit chat anymore in between my surges. So why I call them surges, I don't like calling them contractions, because I feel contractions are a very medical term. I find waves or surges a more manageable term for me personally, and this is also a hypnobirthing term, so that's something I did hypnobirthing, and it's a type of birth education. And yeah, we use waves or surges because a wave, it goes up and down. That's how labor is. That's how your contractions are. They start very low and then they have a peak and then they go back down. So I like calling them surges or waves. So that's what it is. So between every surge, now no longer I wanted to talk. I didn't want to interact anymore. So through every surge, I was basically just breathing in and out. I was breathing in to 6 and out to 8 counts. So if a contraction was maybe 40 seconds, I would just do 2 rounds of breath, basically 20 seconds. So I would just be focused on my breath. And then in between, I was just resting. I was not doing anything else. And I remember my doula telling me that, oh, you can, you can make noises if you want. You can really like get into it. And I remember she said that. And from when she said that till the point I think I gave birth, I was just doing that. So I was like, and I don't know why this really helped. Doing this sort of breath really helped me. I don't know why, but I just felt like my energy was just channeling better. I was not going out of control. It was keeping me really grounded. So I do something in yoga called Om breathing, which is basically Om. So if you know yoga, you would know this sort of breathing. And I practiced this many times, and I think it just felt so familiar and at home for me. My partner called my midwife and told, hey, we are 3 to 4 minutes apart. She isn't really talking much in between surges. So then my midwife said, okay, I'm gonna make my way to you. And she, I think, came around 6 o'clock, I would say. And I think I would tag that 6 p.m. time when she came would be when I was in active labor, for me at least. I'm pretty sure I was in active labor because, like I said, I was no longer outward. I was very much inward. I was only listening to my body, my breath, my sensations. My midwife came around 6. She also bought the birthing pool with her. So usually they give us the birthing pool at our 38-week appointment, I think, or at our 36-week appointment. But the pool, they only had a certain number of pools, and they were already given to other people in the center, in the practice, who were more closer to delivery, in the sense they were more gestation weeks forward. So they were maybe 40 weeks pregnant, or because I was only 37-ish weeks pregnant. So they knew that if I would go in labor, they would come maybe a bit early to give us the pool. So yeah, she brought the pool with her, and she came with the intention of just checking me and then going back home maybe if there isn't much happening. But she came and she checked my surges. She basically, midwives have a way of looking at you and knowing where you are in your labor, and it's just, there are tons of experience in natural birthing that they just know by looking at you, how you're responding, how you're behaving. They know whether you're in early labor, active labor, where you are, they know. So yeah, she saw me, she checked me, and when I say checked me, she kind of was touching my tummy while I was having a contraction. So I think maybe she was feeling the cramping of my belly and my uterus. And yeah, this I didn't know at the time, but she told my partner that when you're gonna have a baby, tonight, it's not going to stop. The intensity in early labor, I would say, is still manageable. Like you're not really. It's not. I don't think even after giving birth, I would say that labor was not painful. At least for me, it was not painful. It was manageable. And I don't know, maybe that's because of the tons of preparation I had done beforehand to make sure that I don't feel pain, or to completely rewire my mindset to believe that labor is not painful. It's actually purpose. It's having a purpose, and it's supposed to be intense. So I actually wanted it to be intense because I knew the more intense it was, my baby was getting closer to me. So that was the mindset. So yeah, I was able to manage it really well. I would say in early labor, up until I reached active labor at 6 p.m., I was just breathing through my labor. Now on to active labor. In active labor, I could, like I said, actually realize that my labor has changed, and I am now in active phase because I just stopped talking. I literally just was internal within myself, within my body, within my sensations, within my breath. I didn't really care, or didn't even really want to know what's happening outside me. So other than the fact that I always wanted to know where my partner was, other than that, I really didn't care much. I was doing the same sort of breathing where in hypnobirthing, we are taught something called the surge breathing, which is like in for 20 counts and out for 20 counts. And it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then you do the same when you exhale. So it's quite a long in-breath and out-breath. And it really calms your body down. You can try this, do it like 5 times, and you will realize how relaxed you actually are. So I was doing this surge breathing. I was just counting. And the fact that I was able to count the numbers also really distracted me from my sensations. I was able to anchor myself and my mind onto something. My mind was not doing its own little chatter. It was very focused on the count, on the number. In active labor, I labored on the toilet a lot. I didn't even expect this. I didn't realize that I would be on the toilet a lot. But yes, I was on the toilet a lot of the time. And I don't know why, I just felt really comfortable on the toilet. And I've heard a lot of women in the birth stories I've heard, they find the toilet very comfortable. I think the idea is that when you're on the toilet, your pelvic muscles naturally relax, because that's where you normally go, number one, number two, and that's when your pelvic floor needs to really relax and let go, in order for you to do number one, number two. And it's the same thing with birth. Your pelvic floor really needs to relax. And yeah, I found it really good. I found it really comfortable. So I was on the toilet, my partner was in front of me, I was grabbing onto my partner, and he was supporting me the whole time, him and my doula. My doula was on the side, doing counter pressure on my back, which really helped. That's one of the strategies you can use for managing pain. And I use air quotes because I don't really think contractions is the same as pain. Like, I don't really feel pain. It's more intense. It's a very intense sensation, but it's not really pain. It's not the same as you getting into an accident or you getting hurt. And it's just, of course, it's intense. It's not like it's powerful. But again, like I said, it has a purpose. So we shouldn't run away from it. We should lean into it. We need to lean into those sensations. And that's what your preparation for labor and birth should all be about. It's about training your mind, so that you can be prepared to manage those sensations. So yes, I was on the toilet for a long time, and I was I was on the toilet for many hours. I don't even remember how many hours, maybe 2-3 hours. And yeah, I think maybe it was around 9-10 o'clock in the night by now. I was on the toilet now for maybe 1-2 hours, and yeah, it was really, I was in the zone, and I could really feel my contractions come on top of one another. So that means I'm kind of nearing 9 to 10 centimeter dilation. I don't really know, none of us really know how far along I was, because I had very clearly stated in my birth plan that I wanted no internal exams whatsoever. I just didn't like the idea in the middle of the labor, someone telling me to lie down so that they can put their finger up me and check how dilated I am. And that's what they do when they are saying they're offering you an internal exam, or to check how far along you are in terms of your cervix dilating. That's what they're doing. The midwife usually puts their 2 fingers in, and then they check the width of the cervix and how far apart the cervix is. So that's how they tell you whether they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 centimeters dilated. And I absolutely didn't want it. So my midwives already knew that I was against it, and I really didn't like it, but they still have to offer. So I think every 4 hours was what they said they needed to offer. So yeah, my midwives came to me, I think 2-3 times in the whole labor process, where they had offered, or they had asked me if, they can check me, and I just declined. All the times, I just declined. I just was like, no, thank you. They definitely, that was more, they had to do it. They knew exactly where I was just by looking at me. They really didn't need to do it, but they have to offer it, so I declined. And you can do that too if you really don't want an internal exam, which I can imagine is very uncomfortable, because when you're in the zone and you're having these intense sensations. Even just my midwife touching my tummy to understand how my uterus is contracting and doing its thing, even that was just uncomfortable. Or even the fact that they were basically monitoring the baby's heart rate throughout, and that was intermittent monitoring. So which means with the Doppler, they kind of put the Doppler on your belly, and then they can hear the heartbeat. And yeah, I declined all my internal exams. So just know that's a right. We can say no. So if you don't want it, just say no. If you don't want it, you already know you don't want it, just inform your birth partner. Just inform your partner, whoever is going to be around you during birth. And if they're being very persistent, you can just ask them to advocate for you when you're in the midst of labor. Or you could just really, I think when you're in labor, you really don't care. You're just your most raw self. You don't care anymore to be nice and to please people, and they're pushing me, you just say no. Like, I remember when my wife was trying to ask me something for an internal exam, and I literally just did this. I just told her, like, just wait, I need to finish this contraction before anyone can talk to me. So in active labor, the time kind of blurred. Like, I had no idea how many hours I was on the toilet for, or I just didn't know anything. I was just with my body, within my sensations. Like, at all times, I just knew where my partner was and where my doula was. And yeah, I think it's a good thing, because I didn't know I was in labor for so and so hours, and I didn't really get into my head about, it's been this long and it has to progress soon, or I've been in active labor for so long, and there was none of that. I just didn't know, what time it was, and I think I preferred it that way. I would become very, very aware if my partner was not near me. I don't know what it was, but I think he was the one person that I felt the safest around. Even if I'm in my own home, I'm having a home birth, I'm having it around people who I know, care providers who I know, who I've had continuity of care with. Even then, my partner was, I think, my safest person for me. So I just wanted to be around his safety at all times. I don't know what it is, but I just became very, very conscious when he wasn't aware. Like he might probably go to the kitchen to grab me some water or grab me some snacks, and I would become very aware. Like, where is he? Where is he? Like, I remember thinking this to myself, like, where is Kiran? Where is Kiran? All the time. And yeah, I think your birthing partner makes a huge difference as to how your labor and birth goes. So yeah, I think maybe around 10 p.m., 11 p.m. I don't know the time. I just know it from my birth notes of my midwives. I think I went into the pool around that time, and as I told you, I was on the toilet, and my contractions, I could feel like they were on top of each other, and they were about a minute or 2 minutes apart, because I knew my one surge lasted about 1 minute, and then I'd have another one within a few seconds, within 10-20 seconds. So I knew I was only resting for a less amount of time. And so yeah, it was time for me to go to the pool, I guess, because I heard my midwife come to me and tell me that, hey, if you want to go to the pool, you can. And the funny thing was, I was just not able to even talk much. I was just like, maybe, like, not sure, because I just was so within me on that toilet that I was like, but yeah, somehow they kept telling me, and I was like, okay, fine, maybe I can go to the pool. And then I did go into the pool, and oh my god, it was unexpected. Like, you really don't know what to expect with water birth or any kind of these techniques that you are planning to use. And if it's your first time, you really don't know whether you're going to like it or not like it. Like, it's just a gamble, because you've never done it before. You've not been in labor before. You've not been in labor in water before. Like, you really don't know what's going to happen. So it was unexpected. I went into the water, and my body, I just felt amazing. Like, it was so relaxing. I was just letting go. And I felt really good in the water, and I felt really calm and really relaxed. Like, I remember the pool was then, I would just lie on the pool, the edge of the pool, and it was so relaxing. The water was surprisingly hot. I think they have to maintain a certain temperature so that when the baby comes out, it doesn't shock the baby's body from your womb's water to outside water. So they have to maintain, I think, your body temperature or the baby's body temperature. And so it was hot. So when I went in, I felt really, really hot. The water felt really hot. So I remember the doula and my midwives and my partner, they were all putting like cold washcloths on my back, and that really felt good, like having cold washcloths. And my doula was having this hand fan, this portable fan, and she was just fanning my face, and that felt really good. But yeah, I didn't expect the water to be this hot. So if you're having a water birth, just be prepared. It might be a bit hot, like a bit unexpectedly hot. And so in between me being in the pool, I would go to the toilet. And there were many times I was like, I can't be bothered going all the way to the toilet. Can I please? And mind you, the toilet is not far. It's like 10 steps away, and I just didn't want to move. I just wanted to be in the water. I just wanted to be in my labor. And I had asked many times if I can pee in the pool, and I was told every time, no, you can't. I mean, you can, but the water will get dirty, from when the baby comes. So then yes, I would jump out of the pool and go to the toilet. And so this is where I said it was an unexpected experience, because when I actually jumped out of the pool and went to the toilet, my surges became more intense and it became more strong. In my head, I didn't want labor to slow down. I didn't want labor, the intensity, to slow down at all. I wanted it to get as intense as it can get. So I then stopped going into the water. I think I went out 2-3 times for peeing and things, and I realized on the toilet it's much stronger. It's always been much stronger, and it would progress on the toilet. Because when you hear these stories, you always hear where everyone reaches a point where you just want to run away. You just want to give up. You're done. You just want to go home. Like, you don't want this to progress anymore. You're just done. And that's when they say that you have hit your 10 centimeters and you are about to give birth. Like, the baby's going to come very, very soon. So I was still waiting for it to get to that stage where I'm going to tap out. And it didn't happen. Like, I didn't reach to that level where I felt like I wanted to tap out. And that's probably why that's where I wanted it to go, to that state of intensity where I wanted to tap out. And that just didn't happen. Like, it was really intense, but I was able to manage it with my breathing. I really didn't feel the need to tap out or say to anybody that, oh, I'm done. I want to be done with this. I was just within my body. In the stories I've heard, people always talk about poo and how you're going to poo when you labor. And by the way, it is very, very normal for you to poo if you're in labor. Like, don't need to be shy about it. Your midwives, your doctors are very much used to it. They really don't care. You don't care. Nobody should care. Like, I think you care more than anybody else, but nobody really cares. We just literally had one of our preparation for home birth was to have a sieve, so that if I was to give birth, and when I gave birth in the pool, if I did poo, they would just sieve it out. So it's not really a big deal. Like, don't worry too much about it. I didn't poo, but I did fart. I did part, and it was embarrassing. But to be honest, you don't care at that point when you're in the raw of it, in the midst of it. You really don't give a shit. Yeah, I farted. I farted in the pool, and it was funny because bubbles would come up in the pool, and it was funny. I just had a funny moment, and where everybody laughed. Like everybody was laughing because I was laughing. They didn't laugh on their own. It was because I was laughing and telling them, guys, bubbles are about to come. So in one of the times where I actually came out of the pool and to pee, I went to pee, and I don't think I actually went all the way to the toilet to pee. I think I just told them I can't be bothered going all the way to the toilet. I'm just going to squat right next to the next to the pool and pee on it, pee on the floor. Like they just put a little puppy pad, and yeah, and I just literally squatted and tried to pee. But the thing is, there was no pee coming. It was actually the little sac was beginning to show. So the amniotic sac was actually beginning to show, and because the baby was so far down, it was putting pressure on my urethra, and that's why I was feeling this on my bladder. That's why I was feeling so much of this urge to actually go pee, but it was actually not pee. And yeah, I was literally squatting. I was holding my partner and I was squatting on the floor, and yeah, it was good. I was I was like, they were telling me that, oh my god, we can see the sac, and it was getting exciting. I was like, oh my god, they can see the sac. And I could also see they were holding a mirror, and I could see the sac, and it was amazing. Like I was like, oh my god, I'm close. So in this whole active labor, I was just breathing through, doing my surge breathing. I was still able to manage my contractions. I was not feeling like to tap out at all. My preparation was to such a high level that I really didn't feel like, oh my god, this is so painful, and none of that story was in my head. I think I had used for pain management, I had used my breath, I had used my birthing team as support. My doula was giving me counter pressure. I relied literally on my birthing team's encouragement. Another thing I used was combs. So if you've heard this, if you actually use combs, like these fine tooth combs, and where the tooth of the comb actually hits your palm, and you just press that comb. So it kind of is it's a counterintuitive thing. Like you're actually you're causing some kind of discomfort in your hands, but then that sensation really kind of distracts you from your intensity. So I was using that when I was on the toilet throughout active labor. I was using that for pain management as well. My breath just kept me so strong and so relaxed that my body was just able to do its thing. Also, I had, as part of my birth preparation before labor, affirmations was a big part of it. So I was also just repeating the affirmations, like every surge is going to bring me closer to my baby. My breath is my baby's breath. My baby and I are working together. So there were a lot of things that I was just repeating in my head. So usually when you're feeling discomfort, just watch your mind. Your mind is constantly kind of chattering and telling you negative stuff most of the time, so that you get away from that discomfort or that uncomfortable situation. So that's what your mind's tendency is to do, is to protect you from things that cause you discomfort. So that's exactly what it will do in labor, unless you train your mind to think otherwise, or to replace that negative chatter with something positive. So I was not allowing my mind to chatter so much. So now on to the pushing phase of labor. So this is the third part where I actually pushed my baby out. So up until active labor, I was squatting out of the pool, and they could see the sac. So that's how much actually happened. And then of course it kept they could see more and more and more of the sac. You know what they show in the TV, where, oh my god, the water is broken and now you need to run to the hospital. This isn't really true, and it's not the case for everyone. Like, your water can break at any point in your labor, and for me it really hasn't broken. Like, I was up until active, I went up to 10 centimeters dilated, and the sac was still intact because they could still see the sac. So yeah, my water really didn't break until like maybe towards the end, when I was pushing the baby out. And there are some births that come on call, which is like the baby's still in the sac and it's born. So by the time we reached the pushing phase, I was back in the water. And the way this happened is really funny. I actually, one of these times when I came out of the pool and I was like, no, I don't want to go into the pool because it's slowing down my labor, I was literally squatting right outside the pool. I was squatting, and the midwives could see more of the sac coming. And they were all like nudging me, hey, do you want to go back in the pool? Do you want to go back in the pool? Like, my partner was telling me, my doula was telling me. I was this close to not having a water birth. I was so ready to give up water birthing and just squat right outside the pool. And until my secondary midwife came, and she told me, hey, if you don't jump in the pool right now, you are not going to have a water birth. So, do you want to jump in? And that's when I realized, hey, actually, the water is not going to slow my labor down at all anymore, because they think the baby is going to come very, very soon, that if I don't jump in, I'm really not going to have a water birth. So that's when I kind of scrapped the idea that the water is slowing me down, and I jumped back into the pool, and thankfully had an amazing water birth. Pushing was, I would say, the hardest part for me, because I just think I got into my head when it came to pushing. So in hypnobirthing, they teach something called the J breathing, where you are not like holding your breath and breathing, you're kind of breathing in with the push, like something like that. Like you're not actually holding, like not that sort of what they show you in the TV. So for me, I was also expecting to be able to do this. So I was now, okay, I was feeling this urge to push, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But it was different for me. I didn't have the same experience at all. I actually was not able to breathe out with my exhales, and that really threw me off, because in my head I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to be really holding my breath and pushing, because that's what I learned not to do, because that's really counterproductive. So yeah, for a long time I actually was trying this. I was trying to exhale and moan while I am pushing, but I was just not able to. My body was very much like, nope, I was able to moan, but I was not able to exhale. I was just able to breathe in and but not exhale. So I really got into my head, because I was like, oh my god, this is not happening like how I thought it was happening. So I think maybe that's what slowed or maybe elongated my pushing phase quite a bit, because I think my midwife told me I pushed for like 3 hours or something, which is sounds very long. It didn't feel like that. It just felt like I said, I was just listening to my body. So for me, time was not really a factor. Like I wasn't really thinking, oh my god, this needs to end soon. I was just going with the flow. Then my midwife actually told me that, hey, we can see meconium in the water, and if the baby doesn't come soon, we need to transfer to the hospital. And what meconium is the baby's first poo, and sometimes the babies do it in the water or during the birth. They ideally should do it after they're born, but sometimes babies do within the water, and this could be a serious complication. So when we were preparing for a home birth, our midwives went through like a list of 20-30 things that if any of these things happen, it's a reason for transfer to the hospital. So yeah, so she came and told me, hey, we could see some meconium in the pool. We actually need to get the baby out soon. If not, we need to transfer. At this point, everything changed for me. In this whole pushing phase, it completely changed. I completely let go and just did what my body wanted to do. I just got out of my head. I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to do whatever my body is telling me to do, which is what actually hypnobirthing teaches you, is to follow and listen to your body, and which is what I wasn't doing. And then finally I just did. I just stopped trying to, because up until this point my breath was just taking me along so well that in the pushing phase, that's what got in the way. I then stopped doing these long in breaths and out breaths, because that's just not what my body wanted to do during the pushing phase. I just started taking these short in breaths and doing these out breaths, because these long in breaths that I was taking and I was pushing out without being able to exhale was really draining my body, because I was not giving enough oxygen in the body and I was getting tired. So then I just stopped and I just started breathing shorter in breaths, and I would just moan. And I was just holding my breath, but not like purple pushing, but yeah, just this instinctive pushing that my body was doing. And I wouldn't say it was not holding your breath, but I was not able to like exhale properly. It was like I was just like breathing in, like, and then just doing like that. Like, it sounds weird, but you're going to make sounds in labor that you've never made in your life. So I started like really moaning loudly. It wasn't a scream, but it was a moan. It was this raw, earthy moan that you will not do unless you're in labor again. Yeah, I just listened to my body and I let go, because I wanted this baby out. I did not want to transfer to the hospital. I'm like, I can barely even go and walk to the toilet. I could start feeling the ring of fire, and I understand why it's called the ring of fire. It was burning. It burned quite a bit. I think the water really helped in really making it mild, but I could still feel that ring of fire. I'm pretty sure that's when the head came out. I could feel like something was there in between my legs, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was so just focused on my breath and the breathing that I really didn't. I think where in my subconscious it was registered that the baby's head came out, but I don't think I really paid attention to it. So after the head came out, so I was in the birthing pool. I was holding the pool, and my knees were on the floor of the pool. And I was holding, and I was on my fours, kind of, and that's how I was. And after the head came out, the midwife actually told me to lunge, like take one leg and keep it up on a lunge, so that I think the body wasn't really coming out yet, and with the next surge asked me to just push a little bit so that to help the baby's body come out. So yeah, that's what I did, and the next surge the body came out, and to be honest, there was so much sensations down there that I actually didn't even realize the body came. I didn't even know the baby came out. I was just, like I said, so focused on my breathing that when the midwife actually brought the baby up to me, I was like so surprised. I was like, oh my god, what, I'm done? Like, I didn't even know the baby came. So that was like a pleasant surprise to me, because I was ready to go on for hours and hours. In my head, I'm like, I can do this for as long as it needs to go for. So I was very, very relieved and very happy, very excited to see my baby. And yeah, and the fact that I was done, I think that's the first thing that came to my head. Like, oh my god, I'm done? Like, what? And so yeah, I held my baby in the pool, and I will try to put a video of it, of the baby coming out and the last push. I'm not sure yet if I want to, but if I will, if I have the courage to show you my raw birthing video, I'll put it up now.
That's it.
Oh, oh, oh my god.
Did it right.
Oh,
Congratulations, you did it.
oh my god.
So when I saw my baby, I cried. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. I was just crying. I couldn't believe, like, I have this little human that I created in my arms. Like, I really couldn't believe it. It's the moment that changed my life. Like, I cannot even explain in words what it feels like to hold your baby. So after the baby was born, I was still in the pool for some time. Like, the midwives and the doula were taking photos with me and Kiran, and yeah, I was just holding my baby the whole time. His eyes were open and he was looking, so he came straight onto my chest, and I was just holding him, and yeah, he was just looking at me, and I was looking at him like, hey bro, what's up? People usually ask me this question, like, how can you birth in water? We can't really breathe in water. But the funny thing is, the baby doesn't actually breathe through their nose. Even in your womb, they're breathing through the placenta, and the placenta is still connected to the baby. So until the baby comes out into air, he actually breathes through the placenta. So, and also you are going from water in the womb to water outside, so they don't actually feel that shock. And that's one of the reasons I think the midwives maintain a temperature, so that their body doesn't get shocked to the change in water. So after some time, we moved to the mattress. There was a mattress on the floor that I was laboring on in early labor, so that's the mattress that we moved into. So coming out of the pool was interesting. I don't remember how it happened, but I'm pretty sure a lot of all my midwife and my doula and Kiran supported me, and I just got up and climbed out of the pool, and yeah, walked with my baby in my arms, and walked to the mattress where we had breastfed. And I think this kid was just born to breastfeed. Like, he just was like, the minute he came out, he wanted the boob. So for the birth of the placenta, the midwives, like I said, were waiting for me to have contractions and just to expel the placenta. But that didn't really happen. So then they kind of, like, my midwife was touching my tummy and like checking something, and then she said, okay, you know what, let's go to the toilet and see if, when you sit on the toilet, and see if you can, birth the placenta out. So we walked to the toilet. I sat on the toilet, and don't worry, I didn't put the placenta into the toilet. They put a puppy pad which can catch the placenta, and I had to push the placenta out. I don't think mine didn't just fall off. Like, I remember I had heard stories where women just came out, when they got up and stood up to get out of the pool, it would just flop out, and it didn't flop out for me. I had to push the placenta out. So I did the same thing, just took a deep breath in and like did 1 or 2 pushes, I think. And yeah, like how if you wanted to poo, how you would push, it's the same way. And yeah, I think within one push, the placenta just came out. And then, yeah, the midwives check the placenta, they make sure it's a healthy placenta, and then they were showing me the placenta. It was really cool to see your placenta, like this new organ your body created just to nurture your baby and grow your baby. All in all, it felt like a high. I don't think I felt a high like this ever before. It was such an empowering, such a positive experience. I never felt like to tap out ever. And that's something my doula said, like, oh my God, you were in labor for 23 hours and you didn't tap out. Like, that's not usual. Many women just say, like, I'm done. But yeah, I never felt the urge to tap out. And I think that's a big credit to all the preparation I have done, to prepare my mind, to prepare my body, to prepare my surroundings, like everything. So 3 things I've learned from my positive home birth. 1, my breath is my power. I really understood the power of my breath in labor. I don't think I could have had such an amazing positive experience if I didn't use my breath to my advantage. Second, your mindset matters. It's a 90-10 game. It's 90% your mind and 10% your body. So we really need to work on your mind. It is so important to control your mind's chatter when you're feeling uncomfortable sensations, and really work on your beliefs and the chatter in your mind, because that can either make or break it, like really. If you tell yourself it's painful, it's going to be painful. If you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm so powerful, you are going to feel powerful. So what you tell yourself really matters. So work on your mindset, because like I said, it's 90% mind, 10% body. Third is surrender to whatever is happening. Don't fight it. Even if it is not going as planned, don't fight it. Just accept everything. Just surrender to whatever is happening. Surrender to your body, surrender to your mind, surrender to your body, surrender to the journey and the path that it's taking you on. Acceptance is going to be your friend, especially when things don't go as planned. So thank you for sitting through this long ass video. I hope you feel that your story can also be positive. I have mentioned hypnobirthing many times, and if you want to know more about what hypnobirthing is, please watch this video.